Hello and welcome. I'm Allison, and today a gentle somatic yoga practice for a happy spine. Let's go ahead and get started seated. So if you're comfortable sitting on the ground, you can have a support underneath you. You could also start this body scan in a chair. So just take a moment to get comfortable. And we're going to begin our practice through observing what is. If it's comfortable for you to close the eyes, go ahead and close your eyes, and then maybe shift a little bit left and right and front and back until you get a sense of your ground, your body in space. And taking this beginning part of practice today to invite yourself into this time set aside for you, for being with your body. Let's begin with a few easy cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Beginning to settle in, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And as we invite ourselves to slow down and tune in, we're cultivating that parasympathetic state, slowing in, a place ripe for learning and observation. And in this moment, as you continue to breathe, take notice of the level of presence you have with yourself in this moment. If 1 is not present at all, and 10 is very present, where are you right now? As you breathe, notice what you feel moving, what seems to be participating in the breath. How deep into the body can you sense your breath? Become aware of any other sensations that are present in this moment. Notice how the shoulders fit on the body. And then take a moment to notice your spine. Maybe bringing your awareness to the back of your neck and traveling down your spine through your upper back, middle back, and lower back. And then observe all the way down to the tailbone, and then back up again. Making notice of any sensations or even areas of your spine that feel a little unrecognized or fuzzy in your mind's eye. Some of us may feel our spine to be articulate with lots of little parts. And maybe some parts of the spine are clearer than other parts of the spine. Just notice the mental image you have of your spine. And if there's any other regions of your back that draw your awareness. We begin our gentle somatic yoga practice with body scans so we can practice the aspect of how our brain learns through contrast. So we've got a good first snapshot of what we're bringing into our practice today. When you're ready, we'll take our first somatic movement flow on hands and knees. You can bring a blanket underneath your knees if that would feel comfortable, or you can just be on the ground. we'll set up first in tabletop position just to make sure that you feel comfortable here. So I'm going to take a first read in tabletop. And then also check out what it feels like to press back into child's pose. So our first anchoring movement is just to feel for a moment, a breath or two, what it feels like to be in child's pose. Notice the amount of distance between your sitting bones and your heels. And notice if there's any different distance between your head and the yoga mat. And what it feels like to breathe here. Coming back up to all fours, making sure this feels comfortable on the wrists and the knees before we begin this somatic movement flow of cat and cow. We'll start in a familiar way. So let's start by just letting the belly drop. Letting the thoracic spine or the shoulder blades come together a little bit, and you're going to gaze out. And then let's go the opposite way by drawing the belly in towards the spine, drawing the lungs and the chest up towards the spine, and then letting the head release. Go through that movement a few times. So we're establishing this first range of motion and what that feels like, letting the belly drop, eyes gaze out, and taking this movement a few times for yourself. Also notice the quality of movement, and by quality today in our happy spine sequence, we're maybe wanting to check out what parts of the spine feel like they're moving well or well oiled, and if there's parts of the spine that might feel sticky in this motion. Getting a good read. Good. And pause. Breath in and out. We'll begin our cycle of pandiculation next by letting the low back arch, letting the sit bones widen and the tailbone coming up. Feeling that low back in the pandiculation, so the little bit of a shortening of the low back, a squeeze or condensing. Then squeeze your shoulder blades together like they are coming closer together, closer to your spine. And then find the muscles on the back of your neck and imagine those muscles are condensing or contracting. All the muscles in the back of the body pandiculating. And then mindfully start to release the head and the neck muscles first, so that's the pandiculation releasing. And then let the shoulder blades come apart, releasing the pandiculation of that upper back. And then begin to release out of the pandiculation of the low back. And as you arch, you can also pandiculate that front side of the body. And then let out of that. Let's do that cycle again. And by doing these little parts, it's called means whereby. So it's the means whereby we're getting a more re-educated lengthening of the muscles of the back by first pandiculating the low back, squeezing the shoulder blades, finding the back of the neck, a little contraction without craning the neck. And then let the head go, let the shoulder blades spread, and let the pandiculation of the low back release. And you might pandiculate on the other side, that front side of the body, so squeeze. You're looking just like a cat, would you? They're really pandiculating, and then release and take a break out of that. And if you have it in you to go 2 or 3 more times, go ahead and close the eyes, and you can start by pandiculating the low back, shoulder blades squeeze, upper back, crown of the head, reaching. And then internally releasing and feeling the muscles release. And you can even find as you arch a contraction on the front side of the body. And anytime you need to take a break out of this, being kind with your wrist, you can set back to your knees. Good. As you come out of that somatic movement flow, pause for a moment, sit back on your knees, rotate through the wrists, release the hands. You can even chop the hands, anything that would feel good. Take some pressure off there. We're going to integrate that work we did through the means whereby, that focused contraction, by coming back to hands and knees. And then let your body, we're going to start to take a circle. So as you lean, let your body lean over to the right, feeling a little bit of a crunching in the left side body. You're going to take your bottom back towards your heels. And you'll come up through the other side, maybe feeling that right side body contracting, coming up through the center, all the way around. So notice there's a way that you can do this, which is sort of taking your body around in a circle, and you can feel that this is possible without finding those areas of opportunity, this sort of the pandiculation. So notice the difference for yourself. If you go through and you find an area that you can compress consciously and let out of, and transfer that to the other side. So there's an activity involved in that. And plus it's getting the brain involved in recognizing what's contracting and then what's releasing. As you're coming out, good. Take a pause back on the knees. Rotate through the wrists. And then we're going to go back to that first movement again without using any of the pandiculation in tabletop. And we'll see what it feels like now to move through tuck and tilt, or flexion and extension of the spine. So, observing for yourself if there's anything that's new for you here, if there's any new sensation, if the quality of that movement feels any different to you, or if there's any other sensations that are present now. And the next time you are tucking, look towards the navel. Compress the front of the body. The pandiculation is the muscle squeezing towards the front of the body. And then as you release those muscles, slowly start to mindfully release those muscles, even in the arms, back into child's pose. Coming back up to hands and knees once again. And then let's hug the muscles towards the bones of the arms. Maybe even feeling like the arms are condensing towards the rib basket, so the pec minor, the serratus. Maybe even give the backside a little bit of squeeze so you're getting the muscles hugging towards your bones. And then as you start to melt out of that pandiculation, out of the hugging, slowly release. All the way back to child's pose, piece by piece. And let's do that one more time, coming back up to hands and knees. We'll squeeze the muscles towards the bone. You're going to feel your back arch in the rectus abdominis, maybe the glutes. You start to feel maybe your arms even hugging midline. So you're giving everything a good squeeze, like wringing out a towel. And then as you start to release muscle by muscle, arm, pec minor, rib basket, abdominal muscles, legs, glutes, wrists, all the little muscles of the hand, all the way back down to child's pose and breathe. And then take a moment in this child's pose here to notice the before and after. If this feels the same or different than the child's pose you visited at the beginning of the sequence, notice the distance between your sitting bones and your heels. And then notice the quality of your breath. Notice the distance between your head and the floor. And when you feel complete from that child's pose, walk yourself back up and we'll take that seated position again. Finding support on the ground or in a chair, take a moment to find your balance, left to right on your sitting bones, front to back. And then take a few moments to be in a body scan, closing the eyes. Notice the quality of presence in this moment. If 1 is not present at all and 10 is very present, where are you in this moment? Notice the quality of your breath. And then picture your spine, noticing any sensation that you have on your spine in this moment. Does one section feel more vivid to you than another? Does it all feel pretty clear? This next part of our practice will be done laying on the left side. If you'd like to take a blanket or a pillow for your head, you can bring one with you as you set up for a reclining twist. And in this somatic movement flow, you want to first feel comfortable here, and then make sure you have space to take your right hand up and behind you in that familiar spinal twist kind of motion. And even with just a little bit of practice there, you might start to feel how that's starting to feel for you. Let the knees be at about 90 degrees to start, and we'll begin on the left side. Next, take your right arm up and over. You're going to open into that first spinal twist just to see what that feels like. Pause a moment and breathe. Notice the quality of this motion, how much space there is between the knees, and if there's any space between your right shoulder and the ground. Getting a first snapshot of your body here. Notice your breath. And then let's begin taking the right knee and sliding it beyond the left knee. So what this is going to feel like is almost like, I like to get that images of buttering a piece of toast or bread. So it's not going to be a big movement, and if you're watching, you can watch how my right femur
which ends at my knee, is just barely sliding along the left femur. And I'm feeling a lengthening of the bone. I feel a little bit of fascial connection into my low back. And then I'm resting that movement. So close the eyes and try that for yourself a few times. Imagine sliding that right knee past or towards the left knee. And I'm feeling I could even give a little pandiculation in the low back, maybe around the upper gluteal muscles, and then release out of that and melt. Doing that 2 or 3 more times, being aware of maybe resting in between each move, so you're really wanting to isolate the movement of that right leg. And after you've done that a few times, pause and breathe. Now let's add some movement and pandiculation of that right arm. So imagine your arm, I'll show you the movement. It's going to be like a corkscrew of the arm. So you can see that rotation, but it's going to be on the ground. So the palm will be up, and as you squeeze that right shoulder blades towards your spine, my little finger is moving towards the ceiling, and I release out of the pandiculation of the right shoulder blade, and then I can turn my palm down. And then you can play with that for yourself. So as you're rotating the arm, squeeze the shoulder blade, the scapula wing towards the spine, and then breathe and let out of that. And again, getting that good feeling for yourself. You can do 3 to 5 of these, taking the opportunity to rest, if you like, between each movement, each pandiculation, and fully release. That is where the re-lengthening happens. So we are pandiculating and condensing and contracting, and then releasing mindfully the muscles towards their resting length. Breathe. And now let's put those movements together. So sliding the right knee past the left knee, squeezing the shoulder blade towards the spine as that knee is coming past. Corkscrew the arm, and then release out slowly, melting away, releasing the shoulder blade, releasing the back, releasing the leg, any other secret tension, let that go. And then take 3 or 4 more of these. And as you're adding the leg and the arm together, just be aware of anything else that's wanting to help. Really hoping to isolate these movements to the right back side of your body, letting the face be soft. Resting as you like and breathing out after each move. And then pause here in your spinal twist and just take an observation or a snapshot of what it feels to be in your twist in this moment. How much space is between your shoulder and the ground, the quality of your breath, and the space between your knees. Let's take a moment to turn completely to the back, to observe now laying on your back, left to right. So taking a body scan here, breathing in and out, and noticing for you if there's any difference left to right in the shoulder blades, in the hips, in the legs. Now let's head on over to the other side. So we're going to be laying on the right side.
Let's set up in the same way. We'll get that first contrasting movement. Using a pillow to support the head if you like. Make sure you have room that you can take your left arm back behind you. So test that out. Make sure you've got that space. Knees at about 90 degrees. And let's get our first read on this side. Spinal twist. Pause. And just observe here the quality of your breath. The distance between your knees. And distance between your shoulder and the ground. Now become aware of your left knee and your left femur. And you're going to practice sliding that left femur, the left knee, slightly past the right knee. And go to the edge of that movement and then release out. And you're piece by piece letting out the back, any tension accrued on the side of the hip. So let's do that motion again. Sliding that left knee past the right or towards the right. Notice where you feel that slight contraction or that effort happening for you. And then wherever you're feeling that, as you're releasing out, slowly release the pendiculation, let the hips rest, breathe here. Taking 2 or 3 more of these, close your eyes if you've got that movement, so you're feeling smoothing out that, feeling the contraction, and release. Breathe and rest as you come back to neutral. Bring awareness to your left arm, and again, this motion will include a corkscrew of the arm. So the humerus is going to be rotating in the socket, but it's going to be doing that through the pendiculation. So squeeze that left shoulder blade towards the spine. And you can corkscrew the arm, maybe pinky is going to face up. And as you release the shoulder blade, arm corkscrews, maybe palm comes down, you can release a breath out of that. And do that movement a few times. And if you haven't yet rested in between each of these pendiculations, just notice what that would feel like if you did, so that there is a space between the conscious movements. So you have pendiculation, rotation, mindful release, and then just a moment of rest or even a breath out. Then let's put those 2 movements together. Sliding the left knee past the right, squeezing the left shoulder blade towards your spine, and harmonizing that release, that mindful release. And do put in a little bit of a pause between each repetition here for yourself. It can be a little longer, it can be a shorter pause, but identify a place between the activity. Release any secret tension in the face or the jaw. And enjoy 3 to 5 repetitions. And when you feel complete, pause a moment, coming back to that spinal twist, just being aware now of the space between your knees, space between the shoulder and the ground, and the quality of your breath.
Let's take one more moment on our back just to compare the sides. If it would give you some more information to be flat completely, slide the pillow away, and that's only if that's comfortable for you. So you're getting a little bit more feedback from the ground sometimes if you're just completely flat. And take a moment here just to observe. Getting feedback from the ground. Noticing your body left to right. How the shoulders fit on the ground. Tracing down your spine. And noticing how the hips fit on the ground. From here, go ahead and turn to your side. We'll end this practice in a seated position. If you like to elevate yourself to a chair or to a bolster, you can do that at this time. You might like to take that same seated position we had when we began practice, just to observe now what seems to be happening, what's present in the body. Find your comfortable seated position, a place that you feel you can integrate your practice and become aware of what is here right now. Allowing the eyes to close. Allowing the muscles of the face to release, the eyes to soften. Allowing the body to be supported by the earth, yielding to the support of the ground. Becoming aware of the breath. And if it would feel good to allow your breath to be audible, maybe letting a full exhale fall out of the body, out of the mouth. Just following that. If that feels good for you, taking that breath again. Or just settling in with the length of your breath. Letting both the in and the out breath be as long as feels comfortable, spacious, without force. As you're breathing here, become aware of your spine. And imagine now that your spine could increase its length beyond the top of your head, as if there was an energy there. Connecting your head with the space above your head, outside the room you're in, towards the sky, and into space. Imagine as if a suspension from space, energy, washing and traveling down into the space above you, through your head, through your spine. Energy long and down, through the end of your tailbone, towards the earth, outside of the room you're in, beneath the surface of the ground, deep down to the core of the earth energy.
And from the core of the earth, energy coming up through to your room beneath you, through your tailbone, through your spine. And now from the center of your spine, be aware of the energy going both directions simultaneously. Up and up and down and down. Maybe even envisioning somewhere as the energy is moving up and moving down, that somewhere outside your body, these energies meet and circle around and feed itself the energy back into your body. Energy moving up and down and around. Deep in your body, something central. Allowing the center channel of your body to be open and receiving these energies moving up and down and around. Staying here as long as you like. Thank you for your practice today. Gentle Somatic Yoga for happy spine. Namaste.